And how they killed her, like she was already half dead on the floor, and then they got back, like they shot her twice again with a new gun.
They didn't want to share.
How brutally they shot the mother, and then afterwards party.
Yes.
And of course,
you would think 35 years of therapy was maybe
I mean,
therapy,
oh, look at this here.
They're not famous.
Yeah, the thing is, you know, and they also like got another fair trial back then because of OJ. They needed someone to go to jail. You have to watch the documentary, it's really interesting. And the funny thing is, OJ came to their house before. They knew OJ because the father, he was like an executive, and he did commercials with OJ Simpson. So the father, so OJ was at their house. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? All the connections here in Los Angeles, it's all fucked up.
Only America.
Only America. Bill, like the biggest one.
And also for you, okay, so you're a big house. You live in the one?
Yeah.
Where's that? Not my favorite. German. Clearly.
I'll take it.
So, there goes a huge video of my interview with Lady Gaga, and people write something underneath, oh, his English is so bad.
What? No.
And then another one, no, he has just an English, he has just a German accent.
Yeah.
That's what they said in German, of course. Why are you so mean?
That is mean.
I got two comments about it. The first one was deleted at one point. I guess someone signed up.
Yeah.
And my boss Frauke, the host, she said, like back in the day, she always said she got this a lot, like people like bullshitting. Oh, mostly it's colleagues. They sign up, make an account, and then they.
What?
Like she said that.
Really?
She had that before, yeah.
Assholes.
Whatever.
Envy is a bad thing.
Okay.
That's
I have a strong accent, but I can hold a conversation. Are you fucking
She has no
kidding me?
accent.
Well, I do. If we talk,
Yeah, you're much better, but no, but you're better. Your
I have a
accent is
bad
not
accent
as
too.
strong
I know
as
that.
mine.
I think mine is great accent, but I know it's really bad. It's always the same thing, right?
but I like it. I think
Yeah.
accents are charming.
Yeah. Look, well, English is fine. It's just the accent that strips us away.
But I think it's charming because it makes it interesting. It's like, oh, where are you from?
I know, but the worst thing is when the Americans say, really, sorry, that's fuck, there's nothing to sorry about them. It is, right?
That's just German complaining. I was like, should I write something down? Because Americans, they like the accent.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, it's just you German complaining, and I want to hear your English. I ignore it, of course. I'm not saying anything.
But it's also stupid when they say English is bad, because that's not true. Your English is fluent. It's just the accent.
Yeah, I can hold a conversation very well. It's just jealousy. Whatever. I don't care.
I moved here in 2019. Full time. Before that, I was here for like half a year in 2017. Because of COVID.
Yeah, correct.
I don't know. It's like, yeah, forever. I don't even remember what life was like before.
I know.
Crazy. I thought you were here longer.
Yeah.
I know.
Only 19.
Me too.
Yeah, right?
But think about it. It's 6, which is also crazy.
It's a long time.
Yeah. It is a long time. I've been here longer, like all at once, than I've ever been any other place except for.
Where you grew up.
Tell me about this one. It's like near Stuttgart. Okay. Cute little village.
What was it called?
Göppingen?
Göppingen, yeah.
Maybe you can try to be a little more careful and move up.
Hey, Thomas, 10 minutes for the press conference. I would also like our microphone to be here.
It is okay.
Oh.
But now the microphone's back. I have that on the other microphone. Just put it on.
Yeah, we'll do that.
The microphone on. I just come early. Yo, bro. No,
He wants
sorry.
the RTL logo.
Yeah, of course.
Front and center.
Front and center.
I know, and it's right. The microphone is my page because it's right on the outside. Can you put the microphone better? We can put it on now.
Yeah, no, it just depends on whether or not I'm going to have you fill out.
I took it out. I didn't have time to sell the fact that it was in. I'm very frustrated about this because it's the all important plastic wrapping for the.
Get a Ziploc or something.
Go when it gets a little dirty.
I mean, even now.
Wait, turn around. To the right. To your left, sorry. To your left. More. Waving. Behind you in the grass. They gave me 6. Yeah. Alright.
Frage, ob sie jetzt nicht mal eher jetzt
Oh,
das
I
Hemd
tell you
anziehen,
something,
weil
Sandra.
nachher
Ich glaub auch.
weiß
You're gonna
ich
be laughing.
Ich glaube, ich gehe jetzt mal nicht mit zum Kaffee.
Ja, passt doch.
Ne, du gehst ins Café.
Wir laufen einfach
Wir gehen mal
zusammen.
zusammen los, ja? Tatsächlich Richtung, oder nicht?
Ich glaube, wir
Du musst darum machen.
da. Okay, perfekt. Genau.
Ne? Bis gleich. Jo.
Thomas, I'm just going to change my jacket.
Only one rating disaster.
ones that will take the other side of the town.
Nobody's going to follow.
Yeah. Number one and stuff like that. Okay, so we'll be over there. Hi, Lisa. Good, how are you?
Can be shut already. Yeah. Can I put it here? Oh, you're the best. You're the best.
There we go. We like that. See? Just get people in the mood.
It's better this blue than black, right?
Yes, good.
Robert! Hey! Hey, here we go. Good to see you, Robert. How are you? Good. Can we do a quick shot like this direction? Yeah. You want to take the you stay here? Yeah, put it there. So, Robert, like the other side, so Robert, today is a very important day. So what is this day all about?
Brian Fruin is that he may be a
Okay. I email him, but like I just don't know your face.
every day for months. I got you.
I
got you.
Together. I'll
On the
give you,
record.
and I'll be like an anonymous person.
You can say Menendez. Yeah. Yep. So they're not gonna do it.
Your press release says 9. I mean 8 o'clock. Menendez Legacy, that's our advocacy project. That's our page. Instagram. Ooh, sweet.
Have my
So same TikTok name as well, and then we're also on Twitter. I refuse to call it X anymore.
It's forever Twitter.
Yeah, it's forever Twitter. So yeah, we're Menendez_freedom. Honestly, if you look up Menendez Legacy, we'll probably
It's
pop
probably,
up.
I was going to say, if I just make a
Yeah, it's right there.
like, it's, oh,
right there.
perfect.
Perfect.
Probably should have from the get-go, but, you know.
I did an interview with ABC 7, and I said, how'd you find us? He goes, I looked up the Menendez hashtag, and that's valid. That's valid. And I said, I asked Holly, I said, how did you find us? And she goes, what do you mean? You're supposed to listen to me.
So, like, but, like, how did you
So,
like,
like, I mean, just pop up on our feed, I guess.
People to death television station.
really? I know, I'm like, that's, I don't, I'm like,
Who's the guy in the blue suit? He's one of the defendants of the team of defendants.
Oh, defense attorney.
One of.
Okay.
I love that.
I thought it was the
Because
DA.
he was in a team with the main lawyer, defendant.
I'm wearing
It's actually not that bad. I thought it was going to be worse, and they said it's going to rain. I'm like, no.
no, we can't.
We're
Like,
good.
our hair, I can't.
We're good today. There's no rain today.
I have
Because last time he walked into the group with
Oh, with him. Okay. Well, some other ones
but
already went
the
in.
other one was a prosecutor, the one who says I feel free to do it.
I wasn't here for that.
I forgot his name.
I wasn't sure if there's anybody else.
I forget the name. One of the defense guys. I mean, prosecution team. I know with the you saw the green with the prosecution. That's hilarious. Team. That's even funnier.
Because they probably say the police are doing better. That was an I know the family.
I would think everybody would be in.
But the main one is defense attorney.
Oh, he comes later. Main defense attorney. Oh, Garagos. Oh, okay. I know him. Oh, that direction?
I don't know. Okay. So far.
I FaceTimed her. I'm like, I need help.
Brian Freeman. Are you Brian? Serious? How are you, man? Good to see you too. Got it together. In my pocket.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, doing the Lord's work for helping us out.
ladies' room.
That's where you went. Good grip. It is a good grip. I don't know. 50% off.
That's right. It's kind of best like
Great food.
yeah.
Just right now, but yeah.
Cups are doing good.
We're
Yeah.
yeah.
The socks though.
That's why they're taking them for 5 cents.
I have a
Oh,
policeman's
bullshit.
license.
And the governor
last one this morning is even better. It's so last like minute in shower.
So a guy went to call us, a guy on the production manager,
He's like, I went to kindergarten through high school with a person that is doing a minor.
Why are you making motions about something?
No, so my husband's a college baseball coach. That's why I'm in California now. I was with my son. Yeah, his best friend is the lead scout for the St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah.
So he probably knows this guy. Sure, yeah, for sure.
There's 0 degrees of separation. How's that?
I have your problem for it.
I know.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 90s.
I don't know if they'll answer you. You could just say, like, I'm trying to email you. Yeah, just say hello. Okay. I will say, it is really good. Yeah, here we are. Oh yeah, we have 3 group chats going, one for leisure, one for the project, one for graphics.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, they're really great.
And I'm sure
Robson has our pictures. Robson made the pictures.
yes. We have I met our photographer. He's trying to master so many times in the group.
It was like a fairly well went in. I'm like, where are their badges?
I love and that's not part of the plan. I was like, first off, I was going to stay with him, but I was flying. Second,
I have them, so I don't know. The sheriffs are making up their rules.
I had a Hail Mary for you. Where are you staying tonight?
The Hilton in Wildfire.
Nice. I was originally at that hotel, and then they were like, we're going to go to the courthouse. So I'm at the Best Western. It's actually really nice.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's fine. I know. This is my time. I don't have a company. That's okay. It's worth it. It's worth it. Experience. And I was talking to Holly. We're wanting to start a nonprofit based off of this. Don't know if we're going to use the name, obviously, for legal purposes, and out of respect for the brothers' families. But we wrote letters to 3 prisons in California. So Richard J. Donovan, Folsom, and San Quentin.
Okay. If you insist.
Yeah.
He's doing all right.
I don't know if you have to pay for it. You just have to really state your business to why you want to come, and I did.
I watched the team.
That was like, it was all clips from the TMZ podcast. I'm just like,
Thank you. I thought there was going to be like a.
no, of course not. I don't blame them. Eric's rather private. You know,
his wife.
yeah, she walked in.
That was her daughter.
Her daughter.
Yeah, I probably I missed that.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Is that what it was? That's what I thought. Okay, first of all,
Yes, you at least together.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call the lotto. So anybody that's got a ticket, please stand over here for me.
I leave that there. You put the mic like that.
Please.
Yeah? Yeah. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
All participating parties have a ticket in their hand, correct? Nobody in this group has like 6 in their hand? I'm just going to call the last 3 numbers on your ticket this time. Try to speed it up here for you. After I call them and you get your badge, form one line here and they're going to let you in as a group. Good. Anybody else? Good. Last 3, it's 761. 761. Ma'am, are you in this? Good. No worries. Thanks for being up here, part of the team.
I'm so sorry.
737. Don't be shy. 737. 763. 762. Come on down. 740.
Oh, yay, sweetie. That's Menendez legacy right there, you guys. Awesome. High five.
Hi, Perry. How are you?
Is that extra helpful?
Thank you. Yeah, hi, Perry. How are you? I'm like...
765.
Oh, yeah.
750. 750. Go, here we go. I'll be back.
I know, I mentioned it to them.
735. Excuse me. I think that's 736. 736. 758.
Congratulations.
You know what? Actually, you know what? You can line up with the rest. Line up with 760. 760.
I thank you for all your help and dedication.
Now we go
You guys already have your tickets, right? You have your badges?
I did.
Sorry, we're going to have to stop for a while. I have your attention. You got your badge? Line up over here for me, please.
I have to go. I have report back later. You're not going to Okay.
We can't continue till we get this line going. So if you have your badge, please line up over there. That includes you, man. You have a badge? Good to see you. I won't get into that. We can talk about that later. Next ticket, 748.
Yeah.
754.
They're lucky. But they're going down. They're not even going to actually, they're over. I think they're
755. Anybody? 755? Seven, 5, 9. Seven, 5, 9.
Yes, we have 759.
745.
They're going to get badges for it.
756.
I think they're going to assess like how many are upstairs and go from there.
741. 741.
With them?
749. 743. We have $1 million. Seven, 4, 4. Seven, 4, 4.
How are you, man? Always good.
Okay, the next two tickets are going to be called or stand by. This is going to be one last regular ticket here. 753. are not guaranteed to be allowed into court. For standby tickets only. 752. 752. 751.
Can you spin that envelope so we can see what it says? No, and hold it like this. We appreciate it. Thank you.
746.
So this is just standby, doesn't mean that you're going in, just in case.
Yeah, you would stand in line and we'll make arrangements up there. 742. 742.
Thank you, guys. You guys like that fun?
You need one. 739. 739. Anybody? Here we go.
It's fine. No mag, walk in, right side all the way at the end. And again, I think there's a tunnel from that building to this building, that sidewalk right there.
Everybody stand in line.
And at lunch, the fence goes this way. And family goes that way.
We're going to come in. Yeah, we don't want to take from anybody. There's availability around. Yeah. We just want to go wherever you want to go.
Yeah, but it's basically if you want to go up with it.
Thank you. And Liz.
Johnny, when should we start building this thing out?
Were they fixed?
However you can buy. The yellow one. They already put the lock.
Oh, the standby. Yeah, so standby classes just in case.
For whatever reason, we have people that aren't able to go inside, leave, or however.
So we're asking them to stand by just in case we do happen to have a room.
There's more people here than I realized.
It depends. Like 30, so usually by then we'll probably know if there's space. Yeah. So if there's no space, then yeah, we'll let standby know.
There's no guarantee for those.
I think at the same time, you grab your ticket, hang out, and The check-in's right there. Oh, thank you.
I'm just kind of hanging out talking.
No, this is media check-in. I do horizontal.
You can start heading up now, but around I think it's probably the department. Yes. Thank you.
When is that coming up?
No, it makes a difference. Yeah.
I don't know why I almost didn't see it. I was just talking to someone. I'm on the digital. Oh, awesome. Yeah.
I'm trying to get one of you guys to step up and make a bet. So one of you wants to take that bet and I'll answer that question.
Alright, you know what? Hey guys, do me a favor. I don't want anybody behind my back.
Ask Jim back in the back. Come on, put up $100 on it. Yes, you have to bet it will be delayed. What? Anybody take that bet? No, I understand that if I was desperate and wanted to avoid the truth, I'd probably do the same thing. If you haven't noticed by now, the DA has turned this case on its head. Instead of protecting the victims, they sabotage them. Instead of seeking quick justice, they try to delay the inevitable. So, like I said, they turned the state constitution and they turned the process on its head.
Will the brothers be testifying?
No, I'm sorry, guys. Not allowed to.
Will the brothers be testifying?
Correct. I mean, that's why, like I said, desperate times for the DA require desperate measures.
Mr. Gergis, will the brothers be testifying? Will the brothers be testifying?
No.
I'll follow your question, Carl.
Yeah, thank you.
He's back. Good morning. Hey. Sorry. Take it to the side.
Why?
get it, guys. I understand.
Okay. Excuse me. Sir.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, what's the bet? What's the bet? I mean, are you upset with the DA by any chance with his motion to do that? I mean, there has to be a little bit of frustration about that.
How do you feel on a day like today? What's your morning routine like? How are Erik and Lyle feeling today?
I've talked to them this morning.
How are you feeling today about coming in here? You know, a lot of things going.
You just don't want to make the bet, do you? $100.
$100. So the bet is pretty much. So you want me to bet $100
yeah,
to?
But I got to see it first. Let me see
okay, $100. I got Zelle.
You got?
Very good.
I don't want Zelle. I want. You know,
oh my God! You want dollars? You want cash? Okay.
What did Erik and Lyle tell you last time you talked to them?
Excuse me while I go through here. Thank you.
Do you see?
In any form? There you go, sorry.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Pardon?
Oh.
Good morning.
Over here.
Nice to see you.
Wait 1 minute more. Thank you.
I'm looking for you. Good.
Can you clean the shot? Down front. Down front.
I'm good now. Okay, I have one request. I'll do something now, but then can I go stand unassaulted over there so I can prepare? That a D?
It's kind of a strong word.
What? Yeah. Okay. So that you understand, the DA did file a motion to continue. I don't expect that His Honor is going to grant that motion to continue. I do, however, think that it's appalling, for lack of a better term, how the DA has treated this case. By the way, Marcy's Law, which is a constitutional law in the state of California, requires certain things of prosecutors and duties for victims. I don't know why, in this case, this particular DA, because it certainly was not the last DA, but this particular DA has decided that he's got some other interest to vindicate that has nothing to do with the victims. There are people in this courtroom, or will be in this courtroom, that have been following these proceedings, that have lived this case for 35 years. They're the victims. They have the unique situation of both being victims in this case and relatives of the defendants. Because of that unique nature, apparently the DA has said he gets a constitutional hall pass from doing anything regarding those victims, supporting those victims, notifying those victims, or anything else. He has abused the victims privately. He has abused them publicly. Just this last Friday, you were all here when they flashed grisly crime scene photos on the screen. I had to. In fact, it took me a second because normally it would be the DA who would jump up and object to that. Instead, it fell upon the defense to jump up and object to that. The DA, to his credit, apologized. And then you know what he did? He went and he organized a protest against the resentencing on Sunday morning while Terry Beralt was lying in a hospital after being found unconscious that morning on Sunday. He organized a protest. He hired the then one lawyer in all of California that supposedly found Kathy Katie, or the Milton Anderson supposedly found the one lawyer, Kathy Katie, who happened to endorse his election. Kathy Katie was then hired as his head of victim services, and when the victims in this case complained, his suggestion was as he had walled her off. Guess who was part of and gave a interview on Sunday at the protest? A woman who claims to be Kathy Katie's best friend is now protesting against the resentencing. I would suggest that if anybody was an intrepid reporter, they might ask that woman, did you talk to Kathy Katie? Have you talked to Kathy Katie? Why is it that this DA is abusing the victims? Why is it that he thinks it's appropriate to go hold a press conference when one of his actions 30 hours later arguably put one of the matriarch of this family into the hospital after being found unresponsive, and when her daughter posted on Friday that her mother, when they went to dinner, was extremely upset because in 35 years she'd never seen the picture. I would ask you to ask the DA that. I would ask you to ask the DA why at the last minute he does a Hail Mary filing of a motion to continue and does not notify any of the victims or the victim's lawyer. Why? What is going on? Whose interest is he vindicating? Who has he been taken hostage? Ask him those questions. Ask him if he's vindicating victims' rights, the public's rights, or if he's just trying to placate some disgruntled DAs in his own office for political purposes. Thank you very much. No questions. I'll talk to you afterwards.
Hear from the brothers.
Can you talk to us at the lunch break?
Well, that was helpful.
How are you, man? Nice seeing you. Yeah, I could not deal with that. Wow. Well, that changes everything.
What's your name? I'm his brother. Jeremy. From the works. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. So just be ready.
Carabiner.
How's it going?
Yeah.
Are you with Ian? Keep it here. Thank you. What's your name?
Hey, we were running and gunning after Garagos, and then he stepped up to the mic, so you're going to get all that.
But like quite calm, compared to siblings.
Feed the rest of Garagos after that. Make sense? But I got some. Yeah.
It was. got it.
Bro, how you doing? Boy, I see your post all over your music stuff. That's awesome. How you doing? Came up and see you. When they left here one night.
Check, 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 check. Check, check.
No, not really. My son used to. My brother was growing up. Yeah. Like I never knew all the characters and everything. People would be like, this guy in like in this universe. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, I get it. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, hold on. Here, this one here. You can't be here.
Yeah, you can't be
You
there.
have to move to the right. He's right on the edge. Sorry.
You can go.
The game at 5 a.m.
Here we go.
I don't think I've ever done a 3 No, this is my first day here. It's a distro. I did, yeah. Wednesday because they had a demand to get that. I got a mic up there now. Yeah, right, exactly. This needs to be your responsibility. This needs to be your responsibility.
Yeah, and James, you can see the activity around me. We just heard from Mark Garagos, their defense attorney, came out fiery, angry at the DA for requesting, maybe requesting. We'll see what they actually do in court. But they say a request may be coming to delay this hearing today.
I have a feeling just like other people pushing in.
We're told any moment now.
It's terrible, right?
Nathan Hochman will be coming out here and speaking at these microphones as well. But this is about to get going this hour, where the Menendez brothers, they will be remote from prison via video hookup in San Diego, and they are going to make a claim through their attorney, Mark Garagos, that they have been rehabilitated in prison over 35 years and that they deserve freedom under California law. They were sent by a jury to prison for life without parole. This judge could decide, once he has heard all of the testimony, over the next probably 2 days until late tomorrow, if he believes that they should have their sentences reduced, maybe even to manslaughter, which would mean the amount of time they've already been in prison, that they would have served their time and they could get out almost immediately. Now, it would be appealed likely by the DA's office, the current DA, different than the previous DA that this all started with, but a different view on this. The current DA, Nathan Hochman, does not want them to get out. He claims they are a risk to the public.
Hey, Lou. My sticks are on the back of my...
Yeah, so we got our hands on this overnight. It was
They're on the back of my
filing
car.
by Nathan Hochman's office, by the DA, saying that they may come in here today and ask for a delay. Now, Mark Garagos a moment ago said it was a continuous request. It wasn't quite a continuous request. He was saying that they will probably request that this be continued on, and then it would be up to the judge if the judge is going to do that, or say, no, we got to get going. This hearing has been delayed over and over again in December and in January, and then it was moved to March, and then it was moved to today. So if they were to do it again, their argument is that there was a risk assessment done by the California Parole Board on the risk if they were to be released into the public, if they would be a risk to the public. And they say that they, at the DA's office, they've now seen that report. It's confidential from the California Parole Board. The judge has a right to see it as well. That's requested from the state of California and from Governor Gavin Newsom. And if they want the judge to do that, they can delay until the judge can see that report. Which, James, it would lead you to believe that the DA has seen something in that report, in that risk report, that they want the court to see that maybe would show a risk if they were to get out. tomorrow, if this all stays on track, if they do move forward, the judge could make his ruling from the bench or decide to do it later after bringing more, could bring the parole board in, could wait to read that report that they're asking the continuance for. But he does have the option of making the ruling from the bench and essentially releasing them, which would take a little bit of time just logistically with the prisons here in California, but could order them released. Now, the more likely scenario would be if he orders them released, he would stay that ruling pending appeal, because we know that there will be a likely appeal, and then instead of allowing them out and then arresting them again and bringing them back in, if the next higher court were to say no, that the judge erred on this. But there are a million different things. I talked to one attorney who said, we don't know how this is going to go. This could go any number of different ways, depending on what's filed, what arguments are made, what the judge decides to do. The judge can do anything to put them in, to eventually maybe let them out, to send them to the parole board to make it.
When you're translating from your camera, you don't write the captions? No? So you don't have to write captions either?
Yeah, they did. They did. I'm filling in for John.
One like everyone else.
No, like outside of your computer on your phone.
Oh, no, you're fine, man.
I'm going to ask. The energy fund. Did they come to
yeah, Alex. You too. I should be cool.
You did?
I just took my mic.
Where?
Right there, maybe?
Oh shit, yeah. So I'm talking about.
That's what you're talking about.
That is what I was talking about. I'm okay. Just gonna see where this goes, right? JR. Hi. Are you staying out here? You obviously can't go in, right?
No.
Work. I've had it for like 3 days.
It's not a tumor.
Huh?
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor?
No, it's not a tumor.
I don't think, I was like, I have meningitis. You know, I'm always thinking like the worst. Like, I've got a fucking brain tumor. I think I have like, did I go swimming? Do I have a parasite in my brain? What is it?
And I'm talking like 6 months. I'm not talking a long time. And I was like,
Now we know. Now I know. I was doing that.
Just saying hi. Check 1 2. Just saying hi. Check 1 2. Maybe wants to check their levels. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Hi.
let's do it. Close your eyes.
Check 1 2. Lots of mics. Check 1 2. Hey my. Rock and roll will never die. Check 1 2. Cheers.
I don't want to see you. You know what I mean? If you were married for 30, 40 years, who gives a shit? Who cares? But to walk into the relationship, not enough money.
It's a nice ring you got there.
What? Not this guy.
I still have the Canon 1D. The very first one that came out. They're really good. It's just, you don't have any of this pulled out. It's very minimal. But it made a great picture.
How was Coachella? I liked your pictures. They were different. Yeah. It was really nice to see.
I know.
Just like.
All of a sudden, Coachella, which is supposed to be funny, it's like white or something.
No, I know, I've heard.
Like a power. I don't get it. 50,000
Oh, Lady Gaga's the worst. She tried that at the LA.
You know, I just can't, I can't spend the time listening to her record, even though I trust the critics, I've read about her record, I get why it's unique, but I just hear that fucker.
Yeah, he was just here a little while. Okay.
It's exhausting.
Cost, right?
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. AI. Now the way to survive. That's what kind of business we're trying to come in. Your labor, especially for labor.
Yeah?
What we do.
Okay, where's your hot as well?
Okay.
Well, good morning, everyone. Today we are going to have a resentencing hearing that is not unexpected. As you're well aware, there were two paths to get to this resentencing hearing. One was the court's own motion, and at no point did we oppose that motion. In fact, we said we were prepared to go forward with that motion. The second path was the prior district attorney's motion for a resentencing hearing. We sought to withdraw that motion because that motion left out a huge amount of key facts for the court to consider into whether or not the Menendez brothers have been rehabilitated and whether or not they continue to constitute an unreasonable risk of danger to society. Those facts and all facts are not facts that we fear. We want all facts to come out at this hearing, good, bad, or indifferent, facts or facts. The other side chooses to start the factual picture not back in 1989 when these brutal murders occurred, but when they started to serve their prison sentences in 1996. While those facts over the last 30 years are very important, so too are the original facts of the brutal murder and what happened at that time. Because we believe, and the California courts confirm, that in order for someone to be rehabilitated, they need to fully come clean with the entire breadth of their criminal conduct. In this case, the Menendez brothers, for the past 30 years, have not come clean with that information. For instance, They have perpetrated the lie, a lie of self-defense. It wasn't their original story. It was actually their fourth story on why they brutally killed their parents. And as we've shown in an 87-page filing with the court, the Menendez brothers concocted this self-defense defense because they had a pre-planned alibi hours before where they were going to supposedly be at Batman the movie when these killings occurred. They had bought the shotguns that they ended up using against their parents 2 days before in San Diego using a fake ID and a fake address in order to make sure the shotguns could not be traced back to themselves. When they committed the murders themselves, they staged it to look like a brutal mafia killing, shooting their father through the back of the head, their mother who lied dying and bleeding on the ground. They reloaded the shotgun, put it up to her cheek, and pulled the trigger. And then after the parents were dead, they shot them each in the kneecaps in order to stage this as a mafia killing. They then, as you recall, originally said, we didn't do it, that there is someone else who did it. Originally, they said the mafia actually killed their parents. And had they not actually been caught and arrested and had tapes come forward where their confessions were identified, to this very day, I believe, they would have perpetrated that original lie that they weren't involved in the killings at all. But when they got caught, when it was on tape, they had to admit to it. But they didn't just admit to the killings, they then concocted this self-defense defense, that their parents were going to kill them. And when I say parents, I mean both Jose and Kitty Menendez were going to kill them the night of August 20th, 1989, so they had to shoot them first. Of course, that is a lie. And they went beyond that initial lie of self-defense. They perpetrated additional lies where they tried to get one of the brothers' girlfriends to say that the father was a violent rapist. She refused to say that. They did try to get another girlfriend to say that the mother had tried to poison the entire family. Lyle Menendez actually wrote a script that came out, and word for word, that is what this additional girlfriend testified in the first trial, but after the script came out, she actually didn't testify in the second trial. Yet each Menendez brothers testified to the same additional lie, that the mother tried to poison them. Now, the reason we focus on what happened back in the 1990s is not because it happened in the 90s, is that because it's happened over the last 30 years. In order to be truly rehabilitated, you have to acknowledge the full breadth of your criminal conduct, your cover-up, and your lies. So the Menendez brothers, instead of coming clean over the last 30 years, when they were not just in their 20s, but their 30s, their 40s, and now in their 50s, as recently as an interview they did on TV about a week and a half ago, they have had every opportunity to come clean and say, look, we did it. We lied about why we did it. And here are the lies that we have told, and we want the world to understand that we now understand all the breadth of our criminal conduct and are prepared to be rehabilitated, be resentenced, and returned to society. They have not done that. And when people say, does the prosecution oppose resentencing, the answer is not no. The answer is not yet. And the reason I say not yet is that we have identified a pathway for the Menendez brothers to come forward, acknowledge all the lies they have told for the past 30 years, and then at that point, if they do it unequivocally and sincerely, and they convince the court, because ultimately the court has to make the decision here, then they can then say to the court, we have come clean, we have been rehabilitated, we no longer constitute a risk of danger to society. But until that happens, the answer is not yet for resentencing. Now, we have actually filed, one of the issues that has come up recently is that we filed a motion dealing with a report that we received from the parole board 2 days ago on April 15th. We have not worked, the district attorney's office has not worked with the parole board, we have not been in contact with the parole board, yet we received a comprehensive risk assessment from the parole board in connection with the parole board's activities for the June 13th hearing they're going to have. When we received that risk assessment, we believed it constituted additional facts that the court should consider in deciding whether or not the Menendez brothers do pose a risk of danger to society. These additional facts are based on a review that the parole board does that is comprehensive. They look at all the records, the prison records, the interview records, the reports in the prison. They talk to various people throughout the prison system about the Menendez brothers, and then they prepared a report that analyzes their view of the comprehensive risk that the Menendez pose of potentially being a danger to society. So we wanted to make sure that the judge got a copy of that report and considered it in connection with this sentencing. And by the way, that report, as it pertains to the parole situation, is just one piece of the information that the parole board will consider on June 13th when it conducts its own hearing. But again, it represents additional facts. And the prosecution doesn't fear facts. We want every single fact, good, bad, or otherwise, to be before this resentencing judge so that he makes the right decision. So we basically said, the judge, if you want additional time in order to get this report and to consider it, we, the prosecution, are willing to agree to any additional time you want. And by the way, if you don't need any additional time, and you can get this report through a request to the governor's office, and you can consider it in connection with the resentencing hearing, we are ready to proceed. So what you'll see today is we are proceeding on this resentencing hearing. We believe that the defense will call a number of witnesses as part of the proceeding. We will then at some point have argument. We hope that the court will then get this comprehensive risk assessment point at some point. And then we don't know what the court's ultimately going to do. Will the court rule from the bench at the conclusion of the hearings, probably tomorrow? The court could do that. Could the court take it under submission and decide it wants to provide its thoughts and its opinion in written form and issue an opinion? That too is an option. Could the court have an additional hearing at some point where the court wants to hear additional argument on the various factors and either rule from the bench or rule in writing? That too is an option. So I don't know exactly how the court would like to proceed, but the prosecution is ready to proceed today. We've always been believing that this resentencing hearing would occur. It is going to occur. And again, we don't oppose. Our answer to resentencing is not no, it's not yet. I'm open for questions.
The brother's attorney has described you as a 90s Neanderthal and how you view this case. What's your response to that?
Again, with respect to defense attorneys, there's an old adage. If you don't have the facts, pound the law. And if you don't have the law, pound the facts. And if you don't have the law or the facts, pound the prosecutor. And that's exactly what the defense strategy has been. Because we don't fear the facts, all the facts that are favorable to a Menendez resentencing, the facts that are not favorable to a Menendez resentencing. Bring on the facts. We do not in any way view the facts in a myopic way, focus just on the 90s facts, because again, the 90s facts are the ones that we're pointing out have continued all the way to this present day, where the Menendez brothers have chosen not to come fully clean with the full breadth of their criminal conduct. They could have done it yesterday. They could have done it a week ago. They could have done it during their prison interviews. They could do it interviews with any of you folks. They've chosen not to. It's that choice that shows that they are not ripe for resentencing today.
Do you expect to hear from them during this hearing?
I'm sorry,
Do you expect to hear from the brothers and perhaps what you're listening for during this resentencing hearing?
Again, that is the choice of the Menendez brothers and their counsel. So I don't want to determine for them or even give expectations. We've laid out a pathway that we believe the Menendez brothers can finally come clean. They can choose to go down that pathway or not.
Is there anything in the risk assessment?
The defense has asked the judge to admonish your office for the images that were shown last week. Has the judge had any words with you, or what will happen next?
The judge has not had any words for me, but let me address what happened. The Menendez brothers, as you're well aware, for 18 years, between 2005 and 2023, had this case lie dormant. And then in 2023, they filed a habeas motion. And then in 2024, there were Netflix specials and documentaries that came out that showed those brutal crime scene photos to millions and millions and millions of people to this very day. We have described, because we believe that the starting point in any rehabilitation starts with the brutal murder. And we have described in words repeatedly in all our submissions the brutality of this murder. 13 shotgun blasts, again, one through the back of the father's head, one to the mother at point-blank range as she lay dying on the ground, and then through the kneecaps after each one was dead in order to stage it as a mafia killing. We have described that repeatedly in words, and there's never been an objection to that. There was never an objection to the fact that these crime scene photos were viewed very publicly and put out publicly for millions of people to see. Now, at the hearing that we had the other day, we described again in words the brutality of the killing, not to do it gratuitously, but because we believe that the rehabilitation, that the coming clean with all the lies starts with the murder itself, the brutality of it, the fact that the Menendez said that they had nothing to do with the murder for 6 months, the fact that the Menendez brothers staged it as a mafia killing, and you have to describe exactly how it was staged as a mafia killing in order to make the point. Now, what we did at that time is we showed a crime scene photo as part of our presentation. What we've apologized for is that we did not alert the defense and the Menendez family that in addition to doing what we had done many, many, many times in public, which is to describe the brutality of these killings in words, that we were also going to show an additional photograph. We've apologized for that. We've made it clear that if we ever were to do it in the future, we would provide advance notice, by the way, not just to the Menendez family, but to anyone in the courtroom who might be seeing this photograph in order to prepare them that if they want to leave at that moment in time, they can. We will not be presenting a crime scene photo as part of the next 2 days resentencing hearings, and that's our position on this issue.
Yeah, how do you respond to
risk assessments say that you want the judge to see? What's this new information?
I'm not at this point, I'm not going to be commenting on the contents of the comprehensive risk assessment.
DA, can you talk about how there's arguments that you've conflated resentencing with parole here? Judge Jesic's ruling last week said that the analysis added nothing new last week, and that the inside standard you keep citing is more relevant to parole than the sentencing. The report you're asking for the continuance around today was also prepared for the purposes of parole and resentencing. So can you just explain, do you disagree with that interpretation?
We do in part, and what we disagree with is that the focus of both parole and the focus of a resentencing hearing is on rehabilitation and the risk of danger to society. Those are the same standards that apply for resentencing as apply to parole. And the California Supreme Court has weighed in, as have other California courts, on what constitutes both rehabilitation and what constitutes a risk of danger to society. One of the factors that they have focused on has to do with insights, exhibiting insights into the full breadth of your conduct, and they have said explicitly that if you have minimized your criminal conduct, which we believe the Menendez brothers have done by perpetrating their self-defense and never acknowledging the lies concerning saying that their mother was going to poison the family and their father was a violent rapist, that when you continue to minimize your criminal conduct, you do not exhibit full insights into it. If you do not exhibit full insights into it, you are not rehabilitated. If you are not rehabilitated, then you continue to constitute a risk of danger to society. So that's how those topics are actually not conflated. They overlap. The same standards that will apply in the parole hearing to rehabilitation and risk of danger to society are the same standards that will be considered in the resentencing hearing.
DA, will you be calling any witnesses of your own today?
I'm sorry?
Are you planning to call any witnesses of your own today? Who are we
I believe today the defense will be calling witnesses, yes.
Who do we expect to hear
your
from?
team received word of the CRA on Tuesday, filed that motion late Wednesday. Why the gap? Why not alert the judge on Tuesday when you first saw it? You were able to read what was in it?
So after we received the report, we had not asked for that report. The report came to us somewhat unexpectedly. We didn't actually know the parameters around that report and what could be released, what could not be released. whether or not the court had received it or not received it. It took us a little bit of time to actually figure that out over the next day, and at the point we realized that the report could be received by the court if the court requested it of the governor's office, that's when we filed our continuance to alert the court that if the court wanted to do that, we were prepared to allow the court additional time to do it. And by the way, the court's own choosing, if the court either chose not to receive that report or didn't need additional time, we were prepared to go forward with the resentencing hearing.
The judge has received the report?
I do not know one way or the other.
Do you believe the father molested them, though? Do you believe?
So my personal belief on sexual abuse is not actually relevant for these resentencing hearing. The central defense in the Menendez case was not sexual abuse. The central defense, the perpetrated, concocted defense, was actually self-defense. And that's not Nathan Hochman saying that. That is Erik and Lyle Menendez testifying to it. As we've shown in our papers and in the courtroom proceeding, both Erik and Lyle Menendez, when asked the question, was sexual abuse the reason that you killed your father and your mother, the answer was no. What was the reason you did it? Because we believed our parents were going to kill us that night. Their attorney confirmed that as well. Leslie Abramson has said that sexual abuse does not justify murder. It never did, and it never will. That's a quote from her own attorney. So the focus today, I believe, will be on the self-defense defense as part of the lies that the Menendez brothers continue to tell to this very day.
For what you've seen of the risk, there's some conflicting information. So the state has said only one component of that risk assessment has been released and that it's also subject to change. So it's essentially a draft. They said the full version would be released on June 13th. But what I'm hearing from you, if I'm hearing correctly, this is the comprehensive risk assessment. So what exactly is it that your office is?
So the document is called a comprehensive risk assessment. It's not called a risk assessment and then I added the word comprehensive on top of it. It's actually called a comprehensive risk assessment. It has been provided to, at this point, ourselves. I don't know if the court has actually asked for it and received it. And again, the governor has indicated that it is part of the information that the parole board will receive. Again, it is not the final or the only document that the parole board will receive and rule on. It's probably subject to change over the next 60 days or so. There'll be additional information, I am sure, that the Menendez brothers and their counsels will bring to the attention of the parole board to additionally consider. So again, to the extent it has facts, useful facts, one way or the other, that either justify resentencing or don't justify resentencing, the prosecution does not fear those facts. We just want every part of the factual picture to be before the judge when he makes his decision.
From what you've read so far, the judge is not accepting your motion to delay. Resentencing is going forward for today. Did the judge say anything about that risk assessment? Is that going to play any part in the next 2 days?
We'll find out in court today what the judge decides on either asking for the risk assessment or his analysis of the risk assessment. I don't have that information right now.
From what you've read so far,
delay? Has he not ruled on it at all?
I think that he will rule on it momentarily. I would imagine it'll be probably one of the first things he rules on. And again, we made it clear in our own motion that the request we are considering is basically for the judge's benefit, not the prosecution's. We're ready to proceed. And if the judge is ready to proceed, we'll start calling witnesses, or the defense will start calling witnesses today. And if the judge then needs some additional time to then review the comprehensive risk assessment or even ask more questions about it, we made it clear that the prosecution is willing to certainly give the judge any additional time he needs.
From what you've seen of the risk assessment so far, does it back up your claims or your arguments and your belief?
I won't be commenting on the contents of the risk assessment at this point.
Can you tell us who you expect to call in this hearing? I know you said you might not present today.
The defense will be calling witnesses today. We'll make a decision after the defense calls witnesses whether or not we need to call any. All right. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
thank you.
Señor. Ayúdame. Now we can't even get it. That's what happens after 50. I think
Terrible.
Okay, let me see. You got it? Sorry, I was telling you how many hard times. Man.
Hey, sorry about that. VA was having questions. Yeah, could you bring it to us? Did you get not a battery check. You can tag me.
On base, Scotty.
We have staff, 9 farmhouse, and we are supporting the I'm coming from Montana, California, so this is my first time got here. Well, it's kind of hard to explain. I'm autistic, but it's kind of hard to explain.
Here, let me unbeat. Hold on, careful with that, because you kind of wrapped up with the other ones. One wrapped up in it. Well, no, but he was saying that he told me that can be smart. Hey. If I have time, we get back home. There's another event as well.
You can just send me the
I was, yeah, we had set up the dude.
Oh, you're driving.
That's the thing. So I don't know why we started early. Like I asked what time were we doing this?
Okay.
It was like, oh, he's gonna do it after court starts, and I said, okay. And I said, well, I'll get there. And she said, I'm gonna get there at 9. And then she was like, no, you probably could be there till 9:30. And so I'm assuming everybody's on the same page. I'm gonna be here at 9:30. So I don't know why we started at 9. That was what we talked about. Like didn't know when to tell my age. Like I didn't rush because they said it's gonna be after court starts.
I don't think. I mean, I got the video. Don't worry about it. I think.
So
I saw.
Just drove here for no reason. I just drove like an hour from home for no reason. I work from home. I drove here to do this, and then no one thought to tell me, hey, we're gonna do it early. We're gonna do it at 9. So be here at 9. I could have been here at 9.
Yeah, I saw the email. It said that he was gonna show up from 9 to 9:30. I don't know what time it was gonna start, but something told me like last night. Josh called me last night at like 9 p.m. and he was like, "Hey, just want to make sure you're gonna be there tomorrow." I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna be there." I'm like, I'm trying to get to HOJ at 7:30.
Wait, but when did they change their mind and tell you guys to come? Because at first they told me you guys.
I'm not sure if you were in the email, but the DA sent me an email and then
he told you to be here tonight.
He said that he was gonna show up to court around 9 today. That was his thing. I'm gonna show up to court from 9 to 9:30, and then I'm like thinking, shoot, I gotta be there before 9 so that I can set up. But then I saw Pam's email saying that only you were gonna show up because Josh didn't want the video team to be here. Wanted to be discreet. But I figured, well, whatever the DA says supersedes anybody else's statements.
Yeah, but he didn't send that message.
And then Josh called me, like, I was putting my son to sleep. He called me at night. He left the voicemail. I was like, oh shit, what's going on? And I didn't call him back, but I heard his voicemail saying, like, yeah, show up tomorrow, you know, just with the microphone. So, all right, cool. So I am coming, and so yeah, that's why. Yep. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why. When I saw you, okay. Girl, I'm so happy to meet you so next time. Keep it out of me. Okay, yeah. See this? People call me trying to dance. You know what I mean? I been go out about it. Everybody niggas tell me I was working. Yeah, I'm not good. You know what? You're too hard. Yeah. Yeah. You're fine. You're fine. I know, but this is my first time to this one lady, when I stand away there, they tell me how to shirt and everybody said, okay, this one guy, he's a little bit too close for me. I think I'm not. And one of my family is kids get weight, but adults also get weight too. It doesn't matter the age. What? Exactly. I was going to get it. Right. Right, exactly. Right, exactly. Exactly. just some people want the way the house is not here. But some people need to take them with the cars, not in jail, you know what, some people, I think somebody should put the, especially the metal gun. I think they should have put the metal gun there, and then anything changed. But don't get me wrong, I said to the court, nobody never know. You know what I'm saying? That's sad. But especially the parents, the metal gun parents should have still up front of the court like that. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Test. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check. It's in here somewhere. I don't know which one it is. Check. Is it low? Is it low? Low. Check. Test. You want me to bring it up? Check. Test. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. Because we were trying to do that earlier. Oh, yeah. Sure. I know.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, no, I was just, maybe if you want to be interviewed, but if you know, it's okay. You're here. It's not live or anything. Don't worry about it. I'm here. I just thought I'd ask you. Here for me. Yeah, no worries. Is it? That's not your first time. Oh, it is your first time. Oh, I promised that,
My family's telling you so. What is that? Yeah, the reporters, you can tell.
The behind the camera people are very good. Don't worry. But I totally
probably funny.
I know. I know she is.
I mean, I think there was a macadamia and nut oil nut oil I don't know. I was like, how much does this cost? Because it was on the 91, so I was stuck out there forever. No, but it was like they took the traffic off the freeway and diverted everyone. Down in Long Beach. Yeah. Down by along the water.
Me han dado bien cansado. No, van a hacer nada, güey.
Yeah, I know, it's not.
Well, I don't know. You heard my cousin? Yeah. He the devil. He had no nerve to kill his wife and he killed him over something. Hopeless. Or something like that. I'm probably going to go talk to him. He just killed his wife. He fight his wife and kill over now. Like, come on,
Ya le ven dicho que sí. Ni sé por qué lo cambió. Pero pues nada, ahí viendo a qué feo. Sí, no, hermano, a las 9. A ver si me llega algo más para pagarle ese güey cuando vaya a hacer esa madre. ¿Mande? Por eso cuando tenía dinero nos compramos todo el pinche material.
Oye,
a ir la lana, ahorita tengo menos 1000 en una y menos no sé cuánto en otra, güey. Así, preocupado estoy de que va a ir a lo balde, güey.
right, girl. That's right. That's right, girl. No. Yeah, we gonna pray for them. That's right.
Somebody's getting panoramic. Vertical panoramic.
Oh, I know. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. But I also think about like that all crazy does, but now it's underscoring. It does, especially from that. Yeah. Today, so they're deciding to continue or is it done? Okay. Yes. No information.
Here, I'll leave it there. Here, everything you dreamed of? He didn't beat around the bush?
That he gets me out of shit, and I don't go.
What are your preferences?
I would say
which way they'll rule.
It's hard to tell the now.
Yeah. Here,